We are streaming live, Ricardo. Um, Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining in for today's webinar. And do join me in welcoming Mr. Ricardo Andorhino. He's a founder of MBUintelligence in Portugal. Ricardo is an intense sports enthusiast. He's majored in handball, which is a very popular sport in Europe, and he's done almost more than 155 international matches. So while Ricardo was focusing on sports, he was also studying finance, innovation, business performance, and his business performance skills made him the founder of MBUintelligence, which is a company in Portugal that drives innovation through people's skills and abilities. He helps people across the globe build sustainable businesses and is here today to share insights with us on the same. Ricardo has also authored a management guide called Awaken Your Genius. So welcome once again, Ricardo. And before I hand over to you, an announcement for all the participants that again, this webinar is entitled for CCUs. And at the end of the webinar, I will be posting a link in the chat box. Kindly submit your form. We will give you the CCUs at the end of next year, that is December 2021. Basically, end of this year, we will give it to you for all the webinars attended up till 31st November 2021. So thank you all for coming, and Ricardo, once again, thank you so much for doing this for us. And now it's up to you, over to you completely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, to join you today in this session. I have a lot in common with you, for sure. I can tell you some stories. I've traveled the globe playing handball, but nowadays I'm completely focused on business performance and helping companies to become more agile and to have a clear understanding about their teams and how they are framing their businesses in this changing environment. So I'm honored to be here because of our history together as a countries. And I know that you have a very diverse country with a lot of different people. And I expect that in this session, I can go into some profound thinking in the way we relate to one another and how we are tackling into predictive management around people. So I will share my screen with you if it's okay. Let me just... You can see my screen. If anyone wants to come on board and to ask questions, please do it. I really prefer more the conversation than the being here alone talking about my own experience. And at the end, for sure that we will have some time together. So when I started to play handball, it was like an environment that was very important for me and to build the person that I am today. I was not so conscious at the beginning of when I was playing handball about the impacts that the sports would have in my career as a sportsman, but also as a person that was curious about a lot of stuff that was not directly related with the sports itself. So I will go into an introduction to a predictive people management tool that I met in 2028 with Bruce Lewin, that is one of the co-founders of this company. That was for me one of the biggest changes in my career path. In that particular moment, I was quitting handball at the highest level. I was playing in Spain. I just played in 3 teams. I started to play in Évora Handball Club, the first team that I was playing for. Then I moved to Sporting Clube de Portugal. It's a famous club in football. In those years, I was already playing for the national team of Portugal. Just in 2004, I moved to Spain to play for the team that actually won the European Championship of Clubs in handball. Handball is a very popular sport here in Europe. It began in Germany, but it spread it to all Europe. When I was talking with Bruce, my friend for 4G, he was saying, well, you just say that you are a Cristiano Ronaldo from handball. And and I was saying, it's difficult for me to say that I was like Cristiano Ronaldo of handball for you, because you are so distant about handball and this particular sport. And even anyone that knows the difference in between the soccer, as you know it, worldwide, and handball, the differences are huge. But the biggest difference is in behavior and what I did in my university studies, or how I was playing at the same time I was working, or I was studying also. I am a person that always try to run several paths at the same time. I could not be so competent in every of them, but I was pretty good in respecting that my level of confidence would be addressed in a very particular way in the many fields that I was involved. So I'm the father of three, Maria, Manuel, and Camila. I've played in the national team of Portugal in handball. I authored a book in 2008. I'm passionate about innovation processes and competitive environments that come from the sports side, but actually it went through my whole career as a manager. And one thing that is very curious is that in these years, I think in 2006 or 2008, I got a call. The first call I have in the office is from an Indian company. It was a software company, and that actually I remember that they were software developers, and they were using a framework that is capability maturity model level 5. I was amazed how a company from India was calling me on the phone of the office to a so small company like mine. And in those years, I was still living in Spain. So about 4 groups, I met this company through Bruce Lewin, and I was very curious about and in this year I was studying a lot strategy, business strategy, and at the same time how people commit to the business and to the workplace. And this framework I'm going to show you, it's all about people understanding. So what we do, and we say that we are able to build sustainable businesses because we understand the people. And that's the only reason we assume that our framework and the way we talk to people inside businesses will give us the information, the sufficient information that we need. And when we say we need, it's already the team that is working inside a particular client or project. So you have here some considerations and testimonials from people that actually use this framework, and the major clients in the UK and in the US. So how we see people management or predictive people management. You know that in every function of the organizations, you have predictions for everything. You have predictions for the forecast of financials, for sales, for IT investment, for logistics, for you have pipelines for almost everything. But many times you don't have predictive management on HR. So this function has been always from balanced scorecards when people try to put in software behavior. Uh, it's very complex, and you know that's very complicated to have a just one application where you can see labor from the people, interactions from the people, and being aware of team productivity, for example. It's very complex and will depend always on the judgment of someone. So with this framework, it is possible to tackle into business performance from the people that builds the business every day. So at its core, 4G is a predictive framework that provides insights into diversity, group dynamics, and performance, helping executives make better decisions and transforming their approach to people management. So we are in a moment that we are waiting for certain rules. We are waiting for the pandemic to calm down. Decision makers are really frightened about their next move because in the workplace they depend of senior people or even the CEO or the functions that are in the top level of the organization. And this makes the organization fragile because the organization cannot concentrate on their own team to be aware of the next move, because there is so much things that we don't know at this moment, that if we fail to maintain our best people around and we fail in communicating well with these people, it is very difficult to maintain businesses if they are already struggling financially before COVID-19 hit us. So 4G puts available 16 different social profiles, 14 different social relationships in between those 16 profiles, 128 combinations of social relationships, and the major 4 social groups, collective groups, values, and shared perspectives. We don't explain people at their profound skills or beliefs. We just understand people from the productivity perspective. And that's enough to put together in the same language, in the same syllabus, people that had some kind of problem communicating, because we are so different and so complex that too much times in the workplace, it's easy for us not understanding our colleagues. And what this does is that we can compare our own productivity with our colleagues' productivity independently of gender, independently of experience, independent of skills, because I think we might agree that the next human being that is capable of addressing productivity is the one that respects not just the technology that is demanding new skills and different skills, but also the culture of that company, the culture of that people, and the efficiency of the teams when they are performing together. So this model has also a software tool, a visual team builder, where these relationships, these productivity relationships, are available in a sense of friction. And the friction scale is what distinguishes green relationships that are very productive, and it doesn't require a lot of effort in communications between people, and red relationships that are harder to maintain if the conversation needs to be in place every day, and the job requires a lot of communications in between peers. So as long as I go with this presentation, please bear in mind that this is a positive tool for predictive people management. It is to aggregate value and economy of scales in communications and in labor, and not a tool for putting someone apart or deciding badly with the talent that we are working with. So many times people see that this can be frightening because there are a lot of information, deep information in regards to the information that the company already knows, but the company doesn't know how to tackle into this information to protect their own assets and their own organizational processes. Here, I could share my experience with you in regards my teams and the way I see team building. But I believe that you also, with your experience, you have your own experiences, and they are like mine. So you know how hard it is to enter today in a new team environment and be productive really fast, to understand people, to feel productive, because feeling productive is quite different from being productive. And our own expectations with ourselves are far from being expectations that we can trust on. We need the team to make us conscious about the impacts that our own productivity have in the team, but also to feel that our productivity has a good and really benefit impact in the team leader and in the team as a whole. And we help organizations here to qualify some KPIs that everyone can adapt, everyone can participate, and everyone can join efforts in highlighting these particular KPIs in the team. So from team building and team cohesion to hiring for optimal relationships, to objective performance management, workplace diversity, culture and strategy alignment, till the holistic leadership. So when we talk in leadership, we don't talk just about the people that has the responsibility or the main responsibility to drive the business. We talk about everyone leadership. Each one of these 16 profiles has their own leadership characteristics. And what we do is we explore these characteristics in the behalf of each business model and in the behalf of the people that hire us, that understand quite well this language and what we are trying to accomplish. Here you can see the complexity, the raising complexity when we are integrating one more people inside the team. It's not some kind of joke that when Jeff Bezos says that if your team is bigger than 3, it's your team needs to eat the same pizza, right? It's like if your team grows too fast without this initial culture and without these steps for adaptation and these economies of scale, it will be difficult and for sure more complex to onboard and to explain exactly what these people is going to do for your business. So in this table, we are sharing with you for a team of 15 that is not a huge team. You have 105 combinations in regards to relationships. Who do you click with? So if you think on your working environment, you know from your intuition that there are people that you click with and people that is quite difficult for you to maintain a conversation. And this is just because the length of the other person is really different from yours, and people is expecting the information in one direction and gets the information in another direction, and this is true for both parts. So from our intuition, it's very easy, and you have this experience for sure. One person that you don't know and you just met, and it seems like it resonates something that well, I think that it's easy to talk with this person. It seems like we know this person for years, you know. And what happens with our brain is like that. Our brains resonates with the characteristics of that particular brain that you've just met. So when I say that 2008 was an important year for me, it's like when I closed the high competition in sports and I opened the high competition in management, you know. And what struck me on this is because the administration process that I handle with Four Groups company taught me in how the conscious works, how the subconscious works. And actually they have a video, a very impressive video, where a neurosurgeon is cutting the communication in between the left part of the brain and the right part of the brain. And it is amazing how our subconscious is working. So I learned so much from Four Groups, but I learn much more from the people that I work with. So I'm really open to new perspectives. I'm really open to how to optimize business processes. I'm really open to understand other cultures, because diversity is here, and it's not coincidence that Google and the major tech companies are hiring artists, are hiring philosophers, and this is something that I think it already changed forever. So humans that are not aware of this and the importance of being agile in adapting, we are watching teams being left behind. We are watching teams breaking down in three other teams, and teams that close to, and there are new 5 teams when before we had one team. There are teams that are working, people that is working in 5 different teams a week. So it's so complex, it's so fast that I really don't know where are we going with so much complexity in communications, because at the end I have this feeling that I don't know if you agree, is that sometimes businesses, they are not good in specifying what they want from people. So they need to hire a position, and then they expect that the person that comes knows exactly how that culture works, and they want the benefit of the work of the person, but taking care of the onboarding, or taking care of the first steps of the person in a business, that's another issue, and another world for, at least for that particular person that is confronted with that new environment. So here you can see some examples of relationships within 4G. Similarity, comfort, assistance, balance, contrast, action. You have here action as a very productive relationship, and you have these 14 relationships in the mathematical model. They all have a very small friction share. Okay, so what we know from the scientific perspective is that this model is stable, is validated by the scientific community. We have 77% in the test-retest metric. So we can trust this to develop people, to develop teams, to develop groups, or even subgroups. We can put people in the software and test environments, testing before decisions that affect the life of one person, but they affect also the life of a company. And you know how risky today is that if you fail to hire, you can fail not just in that hire, but you can fail your business because you had a bad hire. So it is very important, and I think it's one of the things that I do today that it's quite aligned with my studies in finance and innovation, that the risk management part of everything needs to be tackled from the beginning. Or from the initial stages when you are enrolling new people. And if you are going to pay really well to someone in your business, it has more sense even to profile and to understand the person, because you have information, you gather information for the long term, and that's very important also. So this is relationship friction. So how do we measure relationship friction? Imagine these two scenarios on the left. We are looking at the team of 7, and what distinguishes the first team of 7 and the second team of 7 is just that the second team of 7 is optimized through the software tool that we have to highlight relationships. So the salary is the same for everyone individually, but we are able to calculate through relationship friction that this team, the first team in black, we have 17.9% of relationship friction currently. We enter in a team, we assess people, we understand people, we interview people, and we get this figure, okay? Then we go to a second process, and the second process is this team dynamically adapted in your business? Are we able to move people because of the technical, the hard or the soft skills within the processes that are that are designed for that particular team? If yes, we are looking for people that if we don't have technical restrictions in that particular team, we are looking for people that can make a better team fit than the non-designed team from the first group. And that's how we can match and we can fit a second scenario with a team optimized. And if we repeat this process at the year, and we work with yearly metrics in regards to the salaries, to the gross salaries of a year, we can save to this company, because of the process of all life cycle of the people inside a particular business. So we look how the hiring process is working. We look how fast the person is productive inside a new team. And of course, we want to reduce staff turnover, because staff turnover is killing also a lot of businesses, because it's very costly. And there are very few businesses that are looking for the financial perspective of hiring, but turning over the talents that they hired. We have a lot of experience with figures that are really amazing, but not from the positive side, you know. And this is money that the business is throwing out, and sometimes they're not conscious about the volume of sunk costs that are going to the garbage. There costs that are not productive. Okay. Is a tool what makes 4G unique? There are lots of tools today. There are lots of questionnaires, psychometric questionnaires, psychological questionnaires. what makes it for unique? Is quantifiable, is repeatable and scalable, is predictable and accurate, visual and interactive. And from my own experience, there are a lot of qualitative characteristics in the way the process goes. And this is very important because it is not the software that closes a single profile. There is a process in place that needs to be closed by a consultant. And this is completely different from the disk or from other 16PF or a lot of softwares that are working in a very independent way and in the very individual way. This project, this software project, was born from father and son. The father was a master in psychology, and the son was in computer science. So, and the father was suggesting that I don't care if I have Cristiano Ronaldo in my team. I care if Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't know how to play with others. You know, it's a problem of individuals versus team, and this is why it is most important leadership, because in a sport, the coach doesn't need to communicate so well because everyone knows where the goal is, right? Everyone knows exactly what to do because everyone practices every day for a particular goal. But in the workplace environment, you know that is not like that. So there are a lot of good companies, there are a lot of great companies today that are very good in doing this. But you know from legacy that the majority of the companies, medium-sized companies, even big companies, they are not so agile and they are not so good on communicating this and repeating the process through the new people that is coming and building a culture that can maintain a sustainable business. So I would like to offer my availability to have your thoughts on this. If you want to follow up with me in a meeting for a deeper understanding of 4G and its applications, I'm available to do it. Even we can talk to Bruce about profiling some people for you to test the framework, because it's completely different when we hear me for the first time and when you hear you for the first time using our assessment. So if you got to know you a little bit better and in a structural way, you get more confident, you know. And this was maybe the most impactful thing. I already do this of learning from people. I prefer to learn from people that to learn from books, because books stayed really non-dynamic, and we can go there to the index and search for what we want in that particular book. People is always learning. People is always updating, and I believe that in today's worlds we fail, and I'm a little bit frustrated because everyone is talking about technology, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence, but it seems like today we are not preoccupied in understanding our own brain, and this no one is doing. It seems that no one is doing. A lot of people is doing, but at the same time, with this social media and this media, this mainframe media, we get. I think we are put it. All of us are put it down into a river, and we need to do a lot of these sessions to think together about what is the next stage before. Because it's really hard. So you have here my contact information. Please, I would love to reply to some questions and to have a little bit more of understanding of how your culture is working towards these organizational environments. I know that you have been producing you are the country with more software engineers per kilometer, right? It's amazing. I would love to hear from you and to learn a little bit about your organization, and if we can repeat one of these sessions, or one of the companies that are presented, or one of the people that could share your insights. For me, it would be very nice. I don't see the chat information. I don't know if there is Q&A.
Yes. So Ricardo, first of all, thank you so much. You gave a different dimension to 4G. 4G to me was only when it comes to mobile frequencies, you know. So thank you so much for bringing a different perspective to that. We do have questions, and Anuradha is asking a question. How do you quantify the friction levels in teams in tangible dollars?
In teams, intangible dollars.
Yes.
Okay, nice.
That.
Yeah. So what we do is like if the company is able to give us the annual figure of each individual, we have the two parts that we need to tackle into the number or the figure, the value in dollars. So in the example, I can highlight here in the slide. Here you have. So what you do is like through the salary, companies pay to people to be productive, right? So, but then productivity is a concept that it will depend on how the company is tackling into productivity of their own individuals, and at the same time of the rules of the country, for example. And you know, maybe I don't know if you have labor rules more complex than in Portugal, but here I can assure you that they are very complex. They are very complex. So what we assume is that it's an assumption that every company pays for the people to be productive internally. So if we have the salary of a team, the gross salary of the sum of the team, and we are able to calculate the part of the salaries that is responsible for the people to work together in a very aligned way, in a very good relationships, we are able to directly calculate and have a figure about what is the percentage of money that can be optimized. Okay, that's the way we look at the numbers, and then we are exchanging. And the question is very good, because it's here when we are changing from just behavioral and individual assumptions and not objective management to a very objective management. So you hear what people has to say about the teams, the individuals and the team lead, but you also look at the information in a very rational way, because this test is very particular. You didn't run anything like this. It's a 45 minutes to 1 hour questionnaire. You don't need to reply in English, but it's just clicks. And there is one part that is the initial part that you need to click in adjectives in order to go to the second part. The second part, the first part is positive adjectives. The second one is negative adjectives. And it's normal that people doesn't click so much in the negative. And after this initial part of positive and negative, you go through a set of questions for cleaning up the doubts that the software has in the initial process. And afterwards, we can have a very nice understanding, but not final, because the final understanding of a particular profile is done, like I told you before, is done after an interview, a very personal interview about a lot of things that we tackle into. For one thing that I told you before is to respect the individual and to give the individual the benefit of understanding himself in a very deep way, and to trust that information. Another question that people asks at the initial stages is if the result might change in the process or afterwards, right? You do it today, and if you repeat it in 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the probability of getting a different result is very, very low. It's because you don't remember what you were clicking before. And the other reason is because you can have a lot of experience, but you will see them through your own lens. And what we are tackling into here is how you like to work. How do you like to work? And it's like a lens. It's just like a lens here. It's not to explain the person, it's to give you your leadership profile, your leadership characteristics, your ideal working environment, your areas of possible weakness, and suggestions for improvement. So the profile has an executive summary, and it is a 10-page document that explains exactly what we have done before with the individual. So what you see in the screen is when we already have a very structured project, or we are solving a particular problem, or we want to highlight something that the company wants to do in the future. We are being asked to go to mergers and acquisitions because, you know, from the financial perspective, A buys B, everything from the financial perspective is okay, but then the culture, how the culture evolves for one place to another, or for a culture that was led by some people and then move to another completely different setup of leadership. So there are a lot of usages for this, and the way we grab this part of prediction is like any other function on the team or on the company. It's like protecting the assets of the company, and we walk the walk. You have to walk the talk. So we walk the walk. We use it. We educate people around the framework. We give a lot of education for the people to distinguish the right and the wealth that they can have by understanding themselves in this way. And we have projects that even the relation, because we have individual profiles reports and teams reports. And we have projects that sometimes we even don't report the team reports because they are exchanging the individual reports. And by changing the individual reports, they understand better the other person. And this lowers friction within the team and within the relationship. Great question. I responded in one question, I responded to two.
Thank you so much. Ricardo, there's another question. Can this tool also work with a team which is not paid but doing pro bono voluntary work for an organization?
Yes. We have multinational clients, but we don't want to work just for the big companies. We want to check into startups. We made projects in a social manner in the university. For example, in Spain, you visit Spain, right? Some time ago. ESAD is a university that we work with. So this can be applied to any circumstance that involves the keen or the sensibility of a manager running their team. And I really don't know, and I really wanted to hear from you also, because I know that a lot of you is preoccupied like me of in this situation, because here I discuss a lot with our team these situations that before COVID we had a level of trust in between peers and between teammates. So when we went home and when we tried to protect population, then it was really difficult to maintain trust, because the communications were really lower compared with what was before, in a situation that the people were not already remote, right? So it's completely different. But what we are feeling now is like we were talking with someone from Microsoft, and he was saying, I need to have strategies now for people that are remote to come to the office by grouping them, because they miss the colleagues. So and this is really the beginning of this, you know. I assume, because uh, companies will have the need of structure something or some strategies for the people to feel great internally, because the companies that fail to create these environments, they will struggle to maintain leader positions. I think, because there are already some companies in having the same scope or the same understanding of the relationships in this today.
Okay. Um, so Anu has another question. What happens after these reports are available, Ricardo? And what are the next steps that you recommend to overcome some of these issues?
The last part, sorry, I didn't quite
What
understand.
are the next steps? So what happens once the reports are available, and what are the next steps that are recommended to overcome some of the issues?
Okay, it's our projects are always built through three stages. One is when we look at a company, we can be looking at just a team or the company as a whole. So here we have already a scope of the project. The other one is where are you tackling in, right? What is the goal, the final goal of the project? It's to understand people and then to develop that team or that company in a regular way, or is just to understand some problem that the company is facing. So there are a lot of things in regards to technical skills, soft skills, and context that are very important to respond to this question. I would say that we majorly have, because this 4G platform allows you to coach people through the particular lens or the particular social profile of each one, which means that in the software, I think there are 16, 12 to 16 coaching modules that are PDFs or reports that are completely designed for the lens of the person. We know exactly how, for example, interviewing is written in different ways for the 16 different profiles. So, and the information when it comes to one coachee that is led by us, we know that that information will be very well received, because with three adjectives we understand the people for the productivity purpose. So you know that some people is more open to some subjects, other people is more open to another, and it is like it is. We are really complex, and sometimes we need some adjustments, and some help to understand a wider range of possibilities. And that's one of the reasons that even experienced headhunters and experienced people regarding coaching and transformational processes and change management and a lot of intangible work around people fail and to acknowledge that there are characteristics that we cannot process as individuals. This particular thing happened with my sister when I was using and when we assess the social profile of my sister. Before, I couldn't tell what were the variables of their own her own profile, and she was my sister. It's because she said that she could recognize my own characteristics, but the opposite was not true. And what 4G highlights is a relationship, yellow relationship, which involves a great amount of friction. So, what the tool can do also is highlighting which partner, which psychological partner is senior or junior. So this is quite profound information and very useful for organizational development, because when you do this assessment, then you are allowed to train with this assessment. That is one response for the question. But you are also be involved in a transformational process within the organization, and that's the other usage for the reports. And you can use the reports for valuing your team and valuing your own processes. We are a business intelligence company, and we do business intelligence dashboards, but with people on board. So the people of the business there is actually the ones that are influencing us to highlight some KPIs that protect everyone below within their own team. So in that particular way, we are solving or helping to solve the problem of the typical re-engineering book or the balanced scorecard that in the people and development stage or pillar always gets troubles. The other parts is very, very rational, but when it comes to people, it's not today. It's not sufficiently cared how, at least I think it should be.
Okay. Thanks, Ricardo. There's another question about the process of recruiting people. Can this 4G platform be used there? And is it possible to do the other way around of a team assessment, which is like, is it possible to identify which characteristic is missing in a team, and then you start hunting for such professional profiles? So does it do the other way around as well?
Yes, great question. Great question. So exactly. So this works in a bidirectional way. So we don't highlight for the recruitment process, we highlight every time for the selection process, because if you apply it to a recruitment table of 100 people, it is very costly. So what we say is that, okay, you have a pipeline of people, okay, do it. And when you have 6-10 people for the finals interviews, then if it's a position, 3 or 4 people would we assume and we highlight it, and we advise them to run 4G, okay, for the selection process. The other thing is very important, what the question highlights. That is, if you have someone that is a sales representative, that is an innovation driver within the company, is a transformational leader within the company, is a coach that you want to replicate. You won't replicate a person, right? But you can discover and you can understand a person to a point that you say, for this position, for this role, this type of characteristics is what we want. So, and if you get this information, it is easier for you to get these people with this type of characteristics on board. So, and actually it's the type of leadership that we protect, that it's not just the team leader that needs to be someone that redirects and needs to be really open. And I can put here the sports, because I don't, maybe you know José Mourinho, the coach, the soccer coach. José Mourinho, it's someone that has a lot of education in regards to psychometrics with Dr. Boyatzis. And it's impressive because what I can imagine is that the value of Mourinho as a coach, it has all to do with the way he speaks for the individuals of a team, and the way he speaks completely different that he speaks for the team as a whole. So for the team as a whole, he has a very hermetic communication for the goals and for the purpose of the team as a whole. But when he needs to talk with someone, he knows exactly what are the characteristics of that particular player. And in a one-to-one conversation, he gets the player satisfied, even if he's not playing. So, and this is for me the best way of doing it, or to be a leader inside the team, right? What is public then, and the public conferences, and this is strategy. this is sports strategy, okay? But just to highlight this, because I think it's a practical example of the leadership that we try to bring to the companies that we work for.
Okay, Ricardo, will just take one last question. Level of friction amongst the team members, does it change or does it get impacted by some events?
So the friction or the relationships stay the same if you work with that particular group for a long time. So we analyze team maturity. That is something that is not directly just to have with 4G framework. That's another completely different set, and we need a completely different questionnaire for team maturity. But I would say that it really changed the relationships. So the relationships might be green, red, and have a number, right? Because that's the number that we use to calculate friction share, right? But at the end, when you know, imagine this situation, this practical example, you have a colleague that if you could choose, you would work 2 offices from him, okay? So this is a very practical example. If you could choose, you would have few communications with him. So if you could choose, you can choose, well, with this person, I want to speak a lot, and I give my time, and I don't have any problem. But with that particular person, you say, if I have to, I will go to help. But I prefer to stay 2 offices from him. You know that this is one scenario possible, right? Here with the relationships, when this initial person understands the complexity of the relationship in the same framework of his own productivity as a person, he will recognize the importance of the differences of the other. And so the relationship tends to change. And in the project that I was mentioning before, in regards to Azad, we had a very incredible understanding of this. So we highlighted a red relationship between 2 colleagues of the university. And the first reaction of the colleague was saying, yeah, but that's my best friend. And I said, yeah, but we're not talking about friendships. We're talking about labor relationships. But this information is very useful for us, because then for a red relationship, we have a very positive outcome. That is the friendship. But then I went through the deepness of of the reaction of the person. And I would say, but it was every time like that. So every time you had a very good relationship with this person. And she started to look at me and said, well, no, the beginning was really bad. Was real bad. I thought that this colleague had something to do with the president of the school, you know, and and then she started, when their relationship changes is when she told, we had a really big discussion, and we were crying with each other, and cleaning up the mess that we've made before. And I think at the end they understood the misunderstanding that was the beginnings of the relationship in place. And after that, they started to understand how they could communicate better and understand themselves better. That's the final goal, independently of the reports and the situations that we might highlight for using 4G as a supportive tool.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for sharing such an insightful tool, 4G, which is really amazing a tool in terms of talent acquisition, or you can say talent management, and building sustainable businesses. So thank you so much for sharing this with us and our audience. I also would like to thank our Facebook friends for watching us live, and also our audience here, for whom I have posted the link for CCUs in the chat box. So you can actually copy paste this link and submit the form in the next 24 hours to earn your CCUs. So thank you so much, Ricardo, for doing this for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
So once again, I posted the link, and thank you all for coming in today for this lovely webinar. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.